The Rinzai school is one of 3 sects of Zen in Japanese Buddhism. History. Rinzai is the Japanese line of the Chinese Linji school, which was founded during the Tang dynasty by Linji Yizhuan Kamakura. Though there were several attempts to establish Rinzai lines in Japan, it first took root in a lasting way through the efforts of the monk Meiji. In 1168, Meiji traveled to China, whereafter he studied Tendai for 20 years. In 1187, he went to China again, and returned to establish a Linji lineage, which is known in Japan as Rinzai. Decades later, Nanpo Shomayo also studied Linji teachings in China before founding the Japanese Otokan lineage, the most influential and only surviving branch of Rinzai. The time during which Rinzai Zen was established in Japan also saw the rise of the samurai to power. Along with early imperial support, Rinzai came to enjoy the patronage of this newly ascendant warrior class, Muromachi. During the Muromachi period, the Rinzai school was the most successful of the schools because it was favored by the shogun. The school may be said to have truly flowered and achieved a distinctly Japanese identity with Shuho Meiko and Muso Soseki, 2 influential Japanese Zen masters who did not travel to China to study. 5 mountain system. In the beginning of the Muromachi period, the 5 mountain system was fully worked out. The final version contained 5 temples of both Kyoto and Kamakura, presided over by Nanzenji. A second tier of the system consisted of 10 temples. This system was extended throughout Japan, effectively giving control to the central government, which administered this system. The monks are often well educated and skilled, were employed by the shogun for the governing of state affairs. Rinzai monasteries. Not all Rinzai Zen organizations were under such strict state control. The Rinka monasteries, which were primarily located in rural areas rather than cities, had a greater degree of independence. The Otokan lineage, which centered on Daitokuji, also had a greater degree of freedom. It was founded by Nanpo Shomayo, Shuho Meiko, and Kanzen. A well-known teacher from Daitokuji was Ikkyu. Another Rinka lineage was the Hoto lineage, of which Basui Tokusho is the best-known teacher. Tokugawa. By the 18th century, the Rinzai school had entered a period of stagnation and decline. At that time, the monk Hakuon Eikaku became prominent as a revitalizer and organizer of Rinzai Zen, and his vigorous methods spearheaded a long-lasting revival. Hakuon's systemization of the Koan training system serves today as the framework of formal Rinzai practice. Hakuon. Most Rinzai lineages pass through Hakuon Eikaku, the 18th-century revivalist who considered himself to be an heir of Shoju Ronin. Though Hakuon's formal Dharma transmission from Shoju Ronin entails some unanswered questions. When he was installed as head priest of Shoenji in 1718, he had the title of Daichiza, first monk. It was the minimum rank required by government regulation for those installed as temple priests and seems to have been little more than a matter of paying a fee and registering Hakuon as the incumbent of Shoenji. All contemporary Rinzai lineages stem from Inzanai Ien and Takushu-kosen, both students of Gassen Jito. Gassen is considered to be a Dharma heir of Hakuon, though he did not belong to the close circle of disciples and was probably not even one of Hakuon's Dharma heirs. Through Hakuon, all contemporary Japanese Rinzai lineages are part of the Otokan lineage, brought to Japan in 1267 by Nanpo Shomayo, who received his Dharma transmission in China in 1265. Meiji Restoration and Imperial Expansionism. During the Meiji period, after a coup in 1868, Japan abandoned its feudal system and opened up to Western modernism. Shinto became the state religion, and Buddhism adapted to the new regime. Within the Buddhist establishment, the Western world was seen as a threat but also as a challenge to stand up to. A Rinzai University was founded in 1872, Hanazono University, initially as a seminary for those entering the priesthood. Post-war teachings and practice. Rinzai Zen is marked by the emphasis it places on Kensho as the gateway to authentic Buddhist practice, and for its insistence on many years of exhaustive post-Kensho training to embody the free functioning of wisdom within the activities of daily life. Training focuses on Zazen, Koan, and Samu. When engaged in Zazen, koans are frequently the object of meditation, while Shikantaza is less emphasized, but Shikantaza in Rinzai is used. This contrasts with Soto practice, which has de-emphasized koans since Hanto Sokachu, and instead emphasizes Shikantaza. In general, the Rinzai school is known for the rigor and severity of its training methods. The Rinzai style of Zen practice may be characterized as somewhat martial or sharp. In this regard, Rinzai is often contrasted with another sect of Zen deeply established in Japan, Soto, which has been called more gentle and even rustic in spirit. A Japanese saying reflects these perceptions: Rinzai for the shogun, Soto for the peasants. Contemporary Rinzai schools. Rinzai Zen in Japan today is not a single organized body. Rather, it is divided into 15 branches, referred to by the names of the head temples, of which half are based in Kyoto. The largest and most influential of these is the Meiji branch, whose head temple was founded in 1342 by Kanzenagen. Other major branches include Nanzenji and Tenyuji, Daitokuji, and Tofukuji. These branches are purely organizational divisions arising from temple history and teacher-student lineage, and do not represent sectarian divides or fundamental differences in practice. There are nevertheless small differences in the way koans are handled. These head temples preside over various networks, comprising a total of approximately 6,000 temples, 40 monasteries, and 1 nunnery. The Meiji branch is by far the largest, approximately as big as the other branches combined. It contains within it about 3,500 temples and 19 monasteries. Japanese Rinzai schools. The 15 branches of Rinzai by head temple are sometimes also included, making 16 Manpukuji, properly part of Obaku instead. The following temple, also in Kyoto, needs to be included as one of the head temples: Koshoji. Related Japanese Zen schools Obaku. Aside from Rinzai and Soto, there is a third tradition of Zen present in Japan, the Obaku Zen sect. It was brought to Japan in the 17th century, and shows significant influence from the Pure Land school. This reflects the syncretistic tendencies that developed in Chinese Buddhism in the centuries after the earlier Rinzai lines had been transmitted to Japan. Obaku is also descended from the Chinese Linji school, and so technically may be considered a part of the Japanese Rinzai movement. Further, its abbots are now part of the same Otokan lineage as Rinzai branches, though they were not so originally. While Manpukuji, the Obaku headquarters temple, is considered one of the 15 Rinzai branches mentioned above, Obaku Zen is administratively separate from the other 14 branches and continues to maintain its own distinct identity. Fuke, a final Japanese Zen sect that self-identified as descending from the Linji school, was the Fuke sect. Fuke Zen was suppressed with the Meiji Restoration in the 19th century and no longer exists. Its influence on the development of music for the shakuhachi, however, has been great. Ichibata Yakushi Kyodan is today generally considered an independent school of Buddhism, though it was previously associated with Myoshinji, and may still be considered part of Rinzai, though its practices and beliefs have little in common with Rinzai. It places great importance in faith in Yakushi, and is known as a destination for healing. Western Rinzai schools. A number of Rinzai lines have been transplanted from Japan to Europe, the Americas, and Australia, and non-Japanese practitioners have been certified as teachers and successors of those lineages. Rinzai temples, as well as practice groups led by lay practitioners, may now be found in many nations. North American Rinzai centers include Rinzai-ji, founded by Kyozen Joshu Sasaki Roshi in California, Dai Bosatsu Zendo Kongo-ji, established by Edo Shimano Roshi, and So Nakagawa Roshi in New York, Chozen-ji, founded by Omori Sajen Roshi in Hawaii, Daiuzen-ji in Illinois, and Koren-ji in Wisconsin, both founded by Dharma-ez in Omori Sajen Roshi's line, and Chobo-ji, founded by Genki Takebaishi Roshi in Seattle, Washington. In Europe, there is a Jli monastery established by Dharma-er of Edo Shimano, Denko Mortensen. Cultural influence. Remarkable results of the early relationship between Rinzai Zen and the ruling classes were a strong Rinzai influence on education and government, and Rinzai contributions to a great flowering of Japanese cultural arts such as calligraphy, painting, literature, tea ceremony, Japanese garden design, architecture, and even martial arts. A perhaps unanticipated result is that Soto Zen temples, with the connection and appeal to commoners, eventually came to outnumber Rinzai temples.